Lingportal Online School presents
Who versus whom, whose versus whose, when to use them. Hello, and welcome to Lingportal. Today we're going to look at 4 small words that sound very similar, but have different meanings. Who, whom, whose, and whose. These words are question words. Be careful. We use them to ask about people, but each one has its own job. After this lesson, you'll understand exactly when to use them and how to tell them apart easily. Let's begin. Who, the doer of the action. Let's start with the most common question word, who. We use who when we want to ask about the person who does something, the doer of the action. So, who means the person who does the action. It's the subject of the question. Examples. Who called you yesterday? Who wants some tea? Who will come to the party? Now, you might notice something interesting. There's no helping verb like do, does, or did here. Why? Because who itself is the subject of the question. When we say, who called you? We are asking, which person did the action of calling? So, we don't need did. The verb called already shows the action. Now, compare 2 sentences. Who called you? It's the same as, which person called you? This is a subject question. Who did you call? Means the same as, which person did you call? This is an object question. Please note, that's the key idea. If who is the doer, no helping verb. If who receives the action, use do, does, or did. Here's a quick way to check if who is correct. Try replacing it with he, she, or they. Who broke the window? Replace who with he. He broke the window. The sentence is still correct. So, who is the subject here? But when who is the object, we need to use did to make a question. Who did you help? We add did because who replaces the object her. Look, the original sentence is, you helped her. Now we turn it into a question. Who did you help? Key idea for learners. If who means the person who does the action, no do, does, or did. That's a subject question. If who means the person who receives the action, use do, does, or did. That's an object question. Good job. You're already understanding the secret behind who. Whom, the receiver of the action. Now, let's talk about whom. Whom is also a question word, but we use it to ask about the receiver of the action, the person something is done to. So, whom means the person who receives the action. It's the object of the sentence. For example, whom did you invite to the party? Whom are you talking to? Whom will you see tomorrow? Let's check it with the pronoun trick again. You invited him. Now, if we want to ask about him, we replace it with whom. So it becomes, whom did you invite? See? Whom replaces the object, him. That's why we use did in the question. Please note, in everyday English, people often say who instead of whom. Who are you talking to? Sounds completely natural. However, whom still appears in formal English, for example in writing or in polite speech. So it's good to recognize it, even if you don't use it every day. Just remember, who does the action, whom receives the action. Whose, asking about possession. Now let's move to whose. It's another question word, but this time it's about ownership or possession. We use whose when we want to know who owns something. Examples. Whose phone is this? Whose idea was that? Whose bag will you take? So you can think of whose as meaning, who does it belong to? It's short, simple, and very useful in everyday English. Whose, with an apostrophe, short for who is or who has. Now let's look at whose. This one looks and sounds similar to whose, but it has a very different meaning. Whose is a short form, a contraction of who is or who has. Notice whose has an apostrophe, whose doesn't. Yes, that little apostrophe shows the missing letters. It's small but important. Here are some examples. Who's coming to dinner? Who is coming to dinner? Who's been here before? Who has been here before? Who's ready to start? Who is ready to start? They sound almost the same, but mean completely different things. How to know if it's who is or who has. Sometimes whose can mean who is, and sometimes it means who has. So how do we know the difference? Look at what comes after the word. If there's an ing form or an adjective, it means who is. Here are some examples. Who's talking? Who is talking? Who's hungry? Who is hungry? But if there's a past participle, it means who has. Here are some examples. Who's finished their homework? Who has finished? Who's been to London? Who has been? Easy, isn't it? The clue is always in the next word. Quick test. All right, let's test your ear and your eyes. Listen carefully and think. Which word fits best? Who opened the door? Whose phone is this? To whom did you speak? Who's calling me right now? Who's been here before? Excellent, you did great. So now you know the difference between these 4 question words. They may sound almost the same, but each one plays a special role in English. Who does the action? Whom receives the action? Whose shows ownership? And whose connects words together? Try listening for them in films or podcasts. You'll notice how often they appear. And if you'd like to practice more, check the description for related lessons on question forms and the rhythm of English questions. This is Lingportal, where English grows quietly, beautifully, and with meaning.